Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I thought we would take a look at the latest ship to come to the verse, which is, well, the latest two ships, but today I'm looking at one of them. We have the Apollos, so this is actually the Triage, not the Medivac. The Medivac is the white one, this is the Triage, the red one, which I think has lesser armor and maybe lesser firepower. With missiles, perhaps. It's already starting to get a bit of the environment around here, with it being so cold. A beautiful day, though, on Microtech. But yeah, so we'll have a quick look around the outside. So far, I am loving this ship. It is a very cool addition, not just for medical, but just in itself. I really like the design. Now, I have sort of set up a few things inside, mostly as props, just to kind of give the impression of what it's going to be like. But yeah, let's take a look around the outside first. I'm not sure if there are any components on the outside. I don't believe so. We have the thruster placement all over the place, though. There's another one. Yeah, I think all the components are physicalized inside. I haven't tried taking them out, but I believe so. One other neat feature about this is how the back door, so the ramp, oh hang on, that's the fueling port. I did wonder why it looked different. So that's for where you would refuel it when you're on the ground. So the ramp actually has a pretty decent length to it to account for how you may need to drag people up here or push things up here, like medical beds and so on. So I think that's why the ramp is so long. But one other cool aspect of this rear entry is how it is an airlock as well. Now this meets the airlock standard metrics. So docking should be, I don't know when it's going to be functional for this ship, but when it does come along or expands to the rest of the ships, we will be able to dock directly with either a space station or a ship, open the door, and then take your wounded off and have it all clamped to the inside. That's probably going to be a different process, because obviously before you open the door it would need to be clamped properly so that you don't vent any air. But this is the interior, the rear entrance. There is an elevator as well, and the amount of space that this ship has, it's a bit like the TARDIS. You just look at it from the outside and it does not look this big. It feels much bigger inside. That I have put in myself. And there's also a little pushable cabinet that I've also put in Medbay 1. For my configuration today, before we take a closer look at everything around the place, I have gone for a Tier 1 and a Tier 2. So Tier 1 on the left, Tier 2 on the right. Now, of course, you can swap them out for 2 Tier 3s, 2 Tier 2s, 2 Tier 1s, or anything in between. It is entirely up to you. This is just for demonstration purposes. I will pick and choose based on the mission at hand, the likelihood of what various injuries we're going to be getting, and whether or not we would need a lot of respawning. So right now it is just for what I've got decided to go for. Also, I'm not going to spend too much time, or I'm not going to spend any time really, discussing the various medical changes and what's what at this time, because it is constantly in flux right now. They are balancing it and tweaking it to make it make sense. So that's not really the purpose of this video. This is just to check out the triage, the Apollo Triage. Now, there are a couple of stations or kiosks here, which eventually will likely have some functionality of some form. This one says communications. I've seen another one that says, like, helm, I think it said. This one has nothing. It's likely going to keep you updated of, people's injuries and so on. Right now, it is just non-functional. We have a fire extinguisher there. We'll keep an eye on those, because they are going to be very important when engineering comes along. Just making sure that if there is a fire, everything's alright. And then either side, you have these cargo bays, where you can store additional cargo for whatever you need. Be that canisters, or anything, really. It's entirely up to you. It could be you've rescued someone, they had cargo on board that they found quite precious. You can bring that on for them. But yeah, just a couple of, not massive, I don't actually know what the SU size is. I'll put it on screen because I haven't double-checked any of this. But just a nice addition there for storage, I would say. Components, medgel, so on. This, I believe, is a suit locker, which actually looks very different to any other suit locker that we've seen. So hopefully this is kind of a final version of what the suit lockers are going to look like when they start rolling them out to all the other ships, because they are going to be very important as well, especially when Starware starts rolling out. We have quite a lot of weapon racks here. So there's 3 this side for a primary weapon, 3 for secondary, and then there's the same over there. Likely to kind of suit each crew member, but these doors will probably want to be kept locked if you've got patients on board, because you don't want them suddenly jumping in and grabbing all these weapons. Now here is where the shield generators go, and the battery, which we don't have yet. That will come along. There's the avionics. There's 2 avionics modules. This is where you would essentially put a blade. So here, maybe there's 1 slot, maybe more, I don't know. Very nice. Again, this isn't really going to be a rundown of all the components and everything. It's just showing off the ship in its sort of a first look rather than a super detailed. It comes with this and it comes with that. Let's just see if we can close this door. Kind of annoying that it's open. There we go. And then again, the same this side. Sort of rinse repeated. Let's see what we've got in here. So, yeah, 4 shields, which now is actually going to be a lot more important. I think, firstly, 2 will be functioning when we get these engineering changes. It can still change, but 2 will function. If either of those go, you know, destroyed or dormant or whatever, then the other 2 will act as backup, and they will kick in as a backup shield generator to take the place of the ones that have been destroyed. So having 4 is very useful, because you have 2 backups just in case. Also, the gravity generator will go in here, which is going to be obviously important for keeping your feet on the ground. You've got the relays and the main engineering terminal, which is coming soon. Hopefully to a tech preview this year, which is their aim or their intention, provided the Vulcan stuff comes out. So, another avionics module here. I do wonder what else we're going to get for those. Now, let's check out the med bay. As I say, this is med bay tier 1. That is also something that I've brought in as a prop. These are props. And so are these. But the beautiful thing about this look is that you can actually purposefully store med canisters here, which I think is a very nice touch. There we go. So you can kind of put them on the shelf. You've got them at hand whenever you need them. If you need them in a pinch, super quickly, you can grab them there. These, I'm not sure what these are. I don't know if they're like a fire suppression system or something else. They may be oxygen for, you know, medical purposes. I don't know. They could, in fact, these could be the life support oxygen canisters. Anyway, let's keep looking around. Now, you've got a nice amount of sort of desk space here. Another kiosk for whatever reason. Hopefully this will be something that tells us information about the patient, because obviously we've got this here, which is your actual medical assistant thing for treating injured parties. And I do suspect we will see a lot of the medical interactions expand over time to become more visceral and hands-on. As you can see here, we are full, 600 out of 600, which is the current tier 1 capacity of medgel for these tier 1 beds. Again, it can change. This is where you would actually fill them up. So you would press that, it would slide forwards and allow you to load in additional canisters of gel. And of course, it takes the canister away, it sucks it all in, consuming the canister in itself. Now, you do have some patient storage here, where you can fit in 150,000 micro SEU of their equipment. So if they have stuff you need to take it off them, you can do that. We have a Star Kitten cup there, just in case one of the doctors needs a coffee. This is quite nice. So this is kind of like an open, well, it's a refrigerator, but it's open storage. Oops, I didn't mean to grab that. Ugh. which allows you to store all sorts of stuff. Right now, I've just got this medical rescue beacon in it. Let's put that back. Just slot it in there. But yeah, you can kind of keep supplies, med guns, med pens, all the different drugs, and keep an eye on how much supplies you have. So, and again, things will need to be kept cool, refrigerated, at some point. Now, there's nothing else in here inside this actual thing. I don't know if that's going to turn into some form of storage. You do have in each of these medical beds or bays a toilet and sort of washroom for the patient. This is for the patient to use. I don't know how much this is ever going to need to be used, aside from maybe NPC missions or role players. But yeah, that's the Tier 1 module. Very nice. I do like it. Plus, I assume these rooms will be somewhat quarantined, although it's a shame we don't have... We may even get like a quarantine version bay at some point, which would need, I suppose, like a decontamination chamber so that before you go in, because viruses and so on are planned. So keep that in mind for the future. And then the Tier 2 medbay. Now, the Tier 3 medbay's module, essentially this is just removed for another bed. It's practically the same thing, but with an extra bed, slightly different looking bed. Again, you get shelving here. I do like this center console. It is, again, a good place for storing items and equipment should you need to. We've got a little canister and a nice Luminalia cup. We're just coming around. Luminalia is coming so fast this year. With these being Tier 2, you get 400 medgel amount. And then obviously Tier 3, you only get 200. So in this one, you do essentially get double the amount of capacity for storage for the patient. And I assume for the 3-person one, 3-berth one, you'll get 3. Which is quite handy. And again, one of these. But not much more to show off in here. I don't know if any of these items or devices will ever become functional outside of just looking cool and props-wise. It would be nice if they did. I would love to see some more hands-on medical treatment, like even just wrapping bandages, plasters, so on and so forth. That would be cool. These look like they may be... I mean, they look like AED, is it? Defibs? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the Tier 2 module. Let's take a look at the bridge. I love the amount of space in this ship. Again, it's very TARDIS-like. I cannot see how the size of the ship fits all of this in. It feels so much smaller on the outside than it does on the inside. These may have some function for life support in some fashion, or they might just be pipes that can be damaged and repaired. I don't know. But one nice feature is this skylight, which does allow a lot of light in, and obviously when global illumination or ray tracing comes in, even more so, it is going to look very nice. Now, before we get to the bridge, there is a sort of main component room, I suppose. You've got this one here, which houses the power plant. Well, I haven't turned off the thingies yet. The cooler, another fuse, the radar will go there as well. Life support module will go in here. And of course another engineering screen there, which is handy. And then here we have the jump drive and quantum drive, another power plant and another cooler. And yeah, again, this will eventually be a terminal that you can use to monitor your ship systems. I love the bridge. It is very homely for the 2 staff members that are on board. You've got your own little breakfast nook, I suppose is what they're called, but you can just have it as a little dining room, seating area, which I always miss in ships that don't have them. Having a place where you can sit and discuss and chat and eat while you're hanging around waiting for a beacon, for example, to go off is pretty cool. In fact, let's stay with this side. So you have another fire hydrant, which is very important to have one on the bridge. The minute a fire breaks out, someone can at least jump up, grab a fire hydrant, and go and tackle that. You do have these 6 monitors. So 1, 2, 3. You've got co-helm, security over there, communications, co-helm, and science. Now, again, just placeholders for now. I don't know what functionality they will have, if they will remain there. They may take them away, but I would love to see them actually function for various reasons. But right now, they are obsolete. Now, you do get a personal storage each. 450, that's my bag of, of med gels. Spent a few million on those just to set them up. But it's PTU, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, 450,000 micro SEU storage there, which is great. Your own bed each. Same over here, nothing different there. You've got this little food dispenser, food and drink dispenser area, which is to keep your staff fed and watered. And then your own private toilet and washroom. There she is. And a shower. Should you want a shower. Multi-purpose. So yeah, very nice. One other cool feature is how you can actually lower these or retract the sort of banisters, which makes it much easier to maneuver around if you are not exiting, so you don't have them to worry about. Now, of course, if you send the elevator, it'll come up, and one other cool feature that they've thought about is keeping it so that you do not vent the atmosphere on the bridge. So if anybody is wanting to leave or come in on the bridge and you are in a place without oxygen, for example, it will stop that from happening, which is, I'm very happy to see that as a thing. Plus it looks very nice. In fact, let's just take that down, because it's quite an experience. Now, weapon-wise, I think you've got a couple of Rhinos and a couple of M5As on top, which are remote-operated for the top ones. I think these Rhinos are pilot-operated. I don't know if the turret is showing yet. Oh, yes, there it is. There you go. We will show that off. We will put it through some flights as well. In fact, let's do that now. See how she flies atmosphere. In atmosphere. That doesn't seem to function. But the whole door functionality and so forth will eventually come in, so you can control who goes in and who doesn't, and permissions. Let's just check out the co-pilot seat first. The view is spectacular. I actually really like these struts. The fact that they are kind of lopsided, I mean, it's symmetrical all in all, but when you're looking out this way, it feels very asymmetrical in a sort of Millennium Falcon style. They don't get in the way, from what I have noticed, but I've not flown it that much. But I really like the design, and the panoramic view is very nice, especially when you first step onto the bridge. So you've got buttons to open, enter the turret, emergency lights, that's a cool one. So you have your wee-woo lights, finally, and both the triage and medevac get them. So you have a button here just to, oops. Let's get them charged up. Now we have access to all guns, it seems. Oh, so these are the M5s. The Rhinos must be underneath, which we don't have access to in this turret. Which is good to know. I think it's a bit silly that it tells you that you kind of do, but yeah. So, very cool. Access to that kind of thing. The pilot has access to all of them. What else do we have down here? Nothing else, I don't think. And then this side... Or maybe you can fly it from here.
Welcome to Robert Space.
You can, okay.
Enjoy the ride.
And there you go.
System check.
You've got access to them all. But, interesting that you can actually pilot it from the co-pilot as well. I did not know that. I must say,
System off.
I do prefer piloting it from the left-hand seat.
Weapons system is off.
Don't know why, just preference.
Is off. Shields are off.
But let's take it for a spin from the left-hand seat, because that's my favourite. But yeah, good to know that you can use both seats to pilot. So no matter who is on the bridge, if you've got two members, yourself and your friend, either one can take control. Give it a little fly around snowy Microtech. We're in the Deltana region here.
Weapons system is on. Weapons system is off. Welcome to Robert Space Industries. Enjoy the ride.
It does also have 8 Ignite missiles. Which, let's find out where they come firing from. I think they're there, look, let's just take a look. Which kind of fire up. Off it goes. So an odd angle to be launching from. But, of course, if you have them targeted, then it'll launch at them. So you can't just sort of dumbfire it, it seems. Unless they're going to change that. It looks like you really have to make sure you have a lock before you fire those. Otherwise, who knows what you're going to be hitting.
Take off complete.
Oh, let's do an audio first. So,
Landing complete.
one thing I like is when you land, you can hear the ship kind of exhausting. Let's do that again.
Take off complete.
So the thrusters remain on, the power remains on engine.
Landing complete.
Nice sound.
Engines are off.
Alright, let's start her up and listen to it.
Engines are on.
I love the sound design. When it works, hopefully these sorts of ships have been set up with Star Audio. We'll stick with SEM for now.
Raised.
Doesn't seem to have VTOL, from what I can tell. And it looks like for just SEM speed, planet side, of course we are at almost level with the ground, as such, not very high up at all. The speed is not too fast. So if we yaw, it seems to yaw fine. It follows suit with the vector. If I go all the way, just kind of slow it down. But there's no point in really paying too much attention to flight mechanics just yet, with all of the different flight updates coming along. It does seem to have a decent amount of boost, though. And we can get above 180. Only just, mind. Also, something to remember, though, if you are piloting this ship, you don't really want to be throwing it around, pulling off crazy maneuvers, unless you are in absolute desperation to get away. Because you will have people on board who can be injured and need to be cared for. Hopefully, if they're all laying down in the beds, they will be fine regardless. But yeah, you are essentially, in some fashion, a passenger transport vehicle. So making sure that your passengers are comfortable should be paramount, really. But no, all in all, I really enjoy both this one, the Medivac. I think the Apollos, with their essentially a hospital on board, only a small one, is really cool. They are dedicated medical ships, which is why a lot of the other ships that aren't are sort of losing that tier 1 bed. Whether or not that's the right decision or not, I don't know. It is obviously a case-by-case based on the ship that has them. And again, with all the balance right now, I don't know if the values are accurate or good or bad until we probably get testing and seeing where all the issues occur. But I love the idea of the medical profession being this really deep mechanic where you can learn all about injuries and helping others, and it needs to have that depth so that people can excel in it. Should be, again, like anything, easy to get into, difficult to master, and I hope that that's something that the medical profession will start to get more of. But right now, just bringing in these updates does kind of make it a little bit more interesting, a bit more restrictive with the way that the gameplay works. But yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying this ship. It is an absolute beauty, first and foremost. A great shape to it. And somehow just fits all of that inside. But that is the Apollo Triage first look. Looking forward to trialing this out in-game and seeing what we can do with it. I wonder if we can keep flying while shooting. Not sure why. Ah, there we are, because I was not on the right weapon. So you can solo fly it and shoot at the same time. And we shouldn't be able to shoot our own ship. Even though we kind of are there. You can see someone creeping up inside the ship as well. But having access to all these weapons is pretty cool. Turn off the wee-woos. There we are. But yeah, do let me know your thoughts on the Apollos, both of them. This is obviously just one of them. If you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. I will be streaming on Monday, streaming on Wednesday. Wednesday is my birthday, in fact. So we'll be playing around together, maybe doing some giveaways over there. We will see what we get up to. If you are buying anything from the IMPOUND, please do consider using my link, as it will get you a 5% discount. Plus, any purchases made do directly support my channel and my content, so it is very much appreciated. I can see a lot of you use it, so thank you so much. But with that said, hit the like button if you don't mind. It does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. A huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support. Cannot do this without you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.